What time is it? It's time for another Every Other Wednesday.
Welcome, everyone. We are in the double digits now. Welcome. I hope it is lovely wherever you are.
Just to clarify, double digits for people joining the webinar, not temperature.
No.
Or both.
Well, it is. I hope it is in most places this time of year. That would be a little. Hey, it's going to get to 32 degrees in beautiful Canmore here.
That's a double digit.
That's Celsius, folks.
Oh, okay, good.
Which is like what, Fahrenheit, 147 Fahrenheit or something.
What are we asking in the chat box?
Oh, well, I believe you had a question for folks in the chat box.
Oh, right. It's my question. All right, so in the chat box today, before we get started, just put, what do you think is the difference between customer service and customer experience? And we'll just leave it at that. We can keep talking. No, we can't. It's 1 o'clock.
What is the difference between customer experience and customer service? And I'll do the Sanjay thing.
What's the difference between customer service and customer experience? In case you want to,
perception.
So here's the public service announcement. Before you actually answer that in the chat box, please make sure the Dropbox, it defaults to panelists only. If you hit the drop-down menu, you can change it so it sends it to everyone. So we've got a few people already chiming in, so thank you for that. Rhonda and
does the chat look different to you, or have I been gone a long time? I mean, the actual format.
It looks the same as it always has, young man.
All right, well then I'm doing something wrong. So I've really been gone a long time, I guess.
Excellent answers coming in. Hey, we're going to get started. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
We can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
There. Oh, we missed most of it. That's
okay. Do I have to do it again?
We'll have to get that. We'll never get that 3 seconds of our life back.
I know. Sorry.
Can I just say, Sherry, I don't know you personally, but if you're not married, you need to find out somebody named Smith to marry. So sorry, that was probably totally uncalled for and inappropriate.
What? I totally missed something.
This is why, Jeff, you're not invited most weeks.
Yeah.
Sherry's last name, I don't even know how to start to pronounce it, so that's all.
Hey, everyone, welcome to another rousing episode, a lemon-scented episode, I believe, of Every Other Wednesday. It is July 13th. If you're wondering what year it is 2022. So welcome. My name is Michael Kerr. I'm coming to you from the beautiful, inspiring, spectacular Canadian Rockies, and I speak about inspiring workplace cultures, inspiring leaders, and businesses that leverage their humor resources to drive outrageous results. And I want to now hear from one of my esteemed, charming co-hosts, Mr. Sanjay.
Hello, my name is Sanjay Nath, and I live just outside of Toronto, Ontario, in Oakville, Ontario. And I am a specialist in leadership and performance, a speaker and an author. Mr. Tobe.
Good morning, guys. In case you forget, Jeff Tobe, the only U.S. representative today, coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where it is a balmy 94 degrees. We get that once a year, so we enjoy it the one time we get it. I am a customer experience professional, both speaking and training, and I'm so excited to be here. It's not that usual.
Hey, awesome. Thank you, gents. It's good to be with you again. And before we go any further, it's a pretty fun theme day lineup we've got today. Being what it is, July 13th, it is official French Fries Day. And who does not like a good French fry? It is Embrace Your Geekness Day. So I would be hugging Sanjay if I could. And it is Gruntled Workers Day, because we always talk about the disgruntled workers, the people who want to vote themselves off the island. We never talk about the gruntled workers. So today is a day to celebrate happy gruntled workers. So there you go. And
by the way, it's French Fry Day, but is it also Freedom Fries Day? I just want to know.
It is, let's not go there. No. Okay. It is just French Fry Day. Okay.
Carol likes garlic fries. I've never heard of it. Garlic fries.
Do you guys dip your fries in mayonnaise ever?
No, but mayonnaise? I grew up doing that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that did it. I'm more of a poutine man myself.
And you know what? Today I saw at the store. I'm blown away. Ketchup chips. We don't have those in the States.
Yeah, not in America.
Oh, I know. So
yeah, and next thing you know, you're gonna get wine gums and Smarties. Then you'll be a complete country.
No, never.
Do you know, in the Air Canada lounges, when I've been flying again as of late, that's the only chip brand they have is ketchup flavored, which I find a
Wow.
little odd.
Yeah, really,
Frankly.
really. My
It's-
mother would have been happy.
It's a rather unique
My
flavor.
mother put ketchup in her soup, so
Oh, yeah.
she did. I kid you not.
Hey, folks, so guess what? We have a very esteemed, exciting guest this morning that we are going to be chatting with. Very knowledgeable fellow. You've known him from some of his hit TV shows from the 70s. You know him from some of his hit songs. You know him from,
From the 60s, from the 50s. It's pretty
60s,
cool.
50s,
Oh,
from
stop.
so many places. The brilliant, the talented, the intelligent, the always insightful and charming Mr. Jeff Tobe is today's guest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for
My pleasure. I'm
shifting
so
from
excited.
co-panelist to guest extraordinaire.
I am totally intimidated. I'm glad that Richard's not here. So
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah. We
kind of hoping Sanjay wouldn't be here too, but that's okay. And I do want
I wish
want
that
to-
many had.
in all seriousness, I want to apologize before we get started. As these two know, I am just coming through COVID. I would like to say I'm through it. So if you hear me clear in my throat, I apologize, but I wanted to be here today. So
And don't worry, folks, we checked medically. You cannot get it virtually, so you will be safe. But if you want to wear a mask to feel safe, you're welcome to do so.
However, it is a good time for a public service announcement on that note, because numbers are spiking big time, and there's some pretty scary articles out there about the trends and where we are headed. So please, I hope everyone is being safe out
well, this is my first bout, and I felt lucky up until now. So,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
yeah.
So-
Anyway,
Hey, so Jeff, let's just start it. Let's do a little background check on Jeff, shall we? We'll ignore the, some of the FBI records we dug out for you. But just tell us how your background. How did you get into the speaking business, and why the topic that you focus on?
like you guys, as you know, I've made a huge transition also from speaking to training, which we'll talk about. But I fell into the speaking business like most speakers back in the day. I find a lot more speakers intentionally get into the speaking business now, but I was in advertising and marketing, and we had won all kinds of awards, international awards for creativity in business. And the International Association came to me and said, would you put together a 90-minute talk, for your colleagues? I said, sure, I'm a ham. I'd love to do that. And I did it. And 2 days later, a woman called me from Wisconsin. That was in Dallas. And a woman called me from Wisconsin and said, I heard you in Dallas. Would you, come speak to my group? I said, sure. She said, what do you charge? I said, charge? You get paid to talk, right? We've all had that experience. But it was the beginning of my speaking career. And by the way, I charged $200 for the day. So, and for just FYI, I now charge $300. But anyway, the point is that the thing is that I was lucky. I had a great staff who was kind of running my advertising business. I went out and kind of played at speaking for a couple of years, and then sold my company to one of my employees and started this full-time. Are you ready for this, guys? Full-time 30 years ago this year. So,
Wow.
can't believe it. Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
anniversary. And you know what? One day when I turn 30, I'll know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Wait, that deserves a.
Oh no. We have not empowered you with sound effects.
Sound effects are just not going to work. Sorry. So that's how I got started, and it's evolutionized since then. But in answer to your other question, Mike, I will tell you quickly that I was, as you guys know, a self-proclaimed creativity guru. I loved creativity in business. Coloring outside the lines has always been my trademark, officially and legally. But really, my mantra in life was always, we got to get outside our comfort zone. But then about 10 years into my career, I realized that one, I was bored, and two, there wasn't as huge, as large, as vast a call for creativity in business anymore. That my clients were saying, yes, but where do we apply it? And customer service has always kind of been my bane. At the same time, a lot of things were happening. I went back to school, got my master's degree, and with a focus on customer service. Started speaking in the customer service arena. So now we're talking 15, 18 years ago. And to be honest with you, I just thought there's more than customer service. Something bothered me. And I read a book at the time called The Experience Economy. And it's an old book now. It's still worth reading. And it changed my entire perspective of customer service, that you could go beyond customer service and use it as a differentiator in the marketplace.
Cool. Okay, so talk to us about you saying speaking to training.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Where's that evolution?
Well, that's COVID related, as you guys know. You know, I mean, before COVID, the speaking business was thriving. My business was thriving. And I didn't know I didn't have a crystal ball. So I said, you know, I've been doing some training in long-term customer experience, meaning training, by the way, just for clarification for everyone, I work with organizations who want to take them on a 1-year customer experience initiative, our organization. So it's a 1-year commitment on our clients' behalf. So I thought, what do I do during COVID? How do I boost this? So I started a separate entity. I started approaching past clients and saying, you know, I still am a professional speaker and I love doing a keynote or a breakout or a workshop. But you know what? I'm taking all my stuff after 30 years of doing this. I put together more of a system, and my goal is twofold with an organization. And by the way, when I say organization, you're not hearing me say company, because I work with organizations across such a large spectrum. Although, as you guys know, there's a niche with small hospitals because patient experience isn't much different than customer experience. So it's taking them on that one, you know, developing a system to make them the employer of choice in their region and the vendor of choice in their niche. That's my goal. So.
At the risk of saying something nice, one of the things that you've done, like you've always been a ridiculous creative person. I've known you 20 years now, yeah. And I believe you changed my diapers. That's how the anyways.
Well, it doesn't have. I drove you to preschool.
There you go. You've done some really cool things. I'm just thinking of some of the projects that I know that you've been involved with. I remember one, and this just goes to show you, because you took your clients and you took them on an experience rather than
yes.
and then, you know, rather than just servicing them, you go way beyond that. So talk to us about this, because you said basically what you do is you take a dozen or so clients and say, bring your passport and you're coming with me.
Right. Now that's years ago when it was much easier to do that. But
yeah, absolutely. But talk to us about a bit about that. But I love that, because that's a blend of your creativity piece as well as taking your client and going way beyond creating an experience rather than a transactional transaction.
Yeah. It involved a lot more than just sending something and saying, bring your passport. There was a lot of lead up to it, a lot of teasing. But you're right, the bottom line was they didn't know where they were going. Pack your bags. We're going internationally and we're going to spend 3-4 days, I think at the time, you know, beautiful resort, bring your significant other. And we're going to talk at the time about being more creative in business. And of course, I took them to Belize, which was a wonderful trip. And we did multiples of them. But after that, what I found was traveling internationally and being responsible for that many people wasn't my ideal situation. So the rest that we did were all in the US. but yes, yeah, we went to some nice places. So there were a lot of things that we did. And one of the things that I want to give everybody today is just the idea that just by looking at what you do and saying, what can I do that nobody else is doing? I give you a quick example, and this has always been my kind of what I've lived by. When I went to school, which was, by the way, the University of Western Ontario, for those of you that don't know me, I did grow up in Canada. I defected many years ago, but when I went to school, I was a cab driver. I drove taxi to make extra money. And
sorry, is that like Uber?
Yeah, right, exactly.
What is this cab you speak of?
Well, the neat thing is, by the way, as an aside, I will tell you that what I did was for every residence had a prom. And so I would pre-book everybody to take them to the venue, right? So for nights on end, I was the sole driver. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going. No, so the old time taxi drivers said to me, the one thing you don't want to do is drive the grocery routes. I said, what's a grocery route? They said, that's when they call you from the grocery store. They want to go 1 block and you got to carry their groceries in and it's raining or snowing. Right? And I said, oh, okay, that's what I'll do if nobody else is doing it. So, and I literally made my living at that time and paid my way through school by doing grocery runs. So I've always sort of subscribed to the idea you've got to do things that nobody else wants to do in your business to set yourself apart.
Yeah. What are your competitors not doing or not willing to do that you can do, right?
Well,
That's a
yeah,
great
and I don't
example.
want to think of it just in the way, I know that we have a lot of people who work for government. I know that we have a lot of people who join us that don't have competitors, so to speak. I don't want to think of this today as my business and what I do in my business to set myself apart. We have some association executives. We have, such a diverse group here that it's nice that I know that and I'm as part of this. So it's not just that. I think that if I want to get ahead in my career, I've got to do things that nobody else is willing to do.
Exactly.
One of the people, when I asked, the difference between customer service and customer experience, somebody said, it's going above and beyond. Well, Richard says it best. He says it's the oomph, right? It's the oomph that we bring to work. So how do we set ourselves apart from everybody else? And the other thing is that when I talk about customer service, one of the first things I do with my clients, I make them understand, even though they say it, they don't understand that there is an internal customer experience. And we have to be focused on that. So when I speak and when I train, it's really about, as you guys know, three things. It's about, it's about creativity, creative thinking, customer experience, and employee engagement. So they're inextricable.
Well, and customer experience on the inside speaks to everything we talk about here in terms of culture, does it not? I mean, it's totally tied to culture.
Well, that's it. And many people say, oh, customer service, customer experience, nothing to do with culture. You know what? I think it has everything to do with culture, because if we are, in my opinion, I'm biased, but if we are 100% customer focused, that is a culture I want to be part of. So, yeah.
So let's get to the crux of the one thing you taught. Sorry, Sanjay,
I want to jump in. I want to have a question. So let's go back to the original question. The difference between customer experience.
That was going to be my question.
No, I said it first.
You stole my question. You stole it.
We have a brilliant audience. I got to tell you that, because most of them hit it right on. The way I say it is customer service is what most of us do naturally if we have a successful organization or team. Comes from the heart. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Right? Customer experience is more the ability to step back and ask ourselves, what's my customer's experience from the minute they make contact with us till the minute they're done? So what's the difference? The difference is that now it involves a collaboration. Now it involves more than just one person. Customer service is transactional, right? It's a one-time, fix something, do something nice, whatever. But what I love is and I apologize, I was trying to look quickly and I should have kept it, but here, Sherry, who I was picking on and let me off the hook later. So thank you, Sherry, said, customer service is what you provide. Customer experience is how they perceive it. And I would add to that, how they feel about it. So what I tell my clients is that every one of your customers, internal or external, every time they have an interaction with your brand or your organization or just your team, they're going to go home and they're going to tell a story about it. Now we can determine what that story is. That's their experience. So if it's just that I had a problem with my phone service and they fixed it, great. That's not really an experience. I feel good about it. They fixed it. But you know what? Last time I called the phone company, they left me on hold for an hour and a half. When they came back, they transferred me. And then after that, they dropped me. Yeah. So it's an accumulative thing, whereas customer service are one-offs.
So let me put you on the spot here. If you're in Canada last Friday, Rogers went down. We're talking customer experience versus customer service, and they came out for the Americans who are not aware of that. So we have basically three major service providers for internet services in Canada. On Friday, one was out for 15 hours, and they don't know why, and the whole world went to hell in Canada. Anyways, people had stories, people couldn't call 911, all this stuff. And Rogers came out and said, oops, sorry, we did an upgrade and something went wrong. And then they said, don't worry, we're going to credit you proactively a day of service for that going down. So, average person paying maybe $60 for a cell phone, they got $2 for that inconvenience.
Wow.
Right. And then a few days later, just yesterday, maybe they said, we're good people. Don't worry. We're going to give you 5 days. So rather than $2, you're getting a $10 credit. From a customer service versus customer experience, let me give you a real life case study. How does that play in your books? What could they do? What should they be doing?
Yeah, so it's hard. I'm not, believe me, I'm not defending Rogers by any means, but they're a huge organization, right? So from their perspective, think about the fact that that $10 per, how many subscribers do they have? That's a huge investment for them. But you know what? It doesn't matter to me, the consumer. And that's what they have to do. It could have been a nice personal note. It's simple, right? I don't know how they do that, but I'm sure they got my email address as well, or text me and let it say, Jeff, we are really sorry about last week. We want to whatever. And something that's more personal and less corporate, I think. I'm not sure how they would define that. My clients, luckily, as you guys know, are 150 employees to 500 employees. That's my sweet spot. So we can do a lot more personal, thing. And it brings me to a good point that I have in my new book, the CX Edge, which we'll talk about. But one of the first things I do in working with a client long term is I either examine or first I ask them if they have any kind of service recovery policy. Are you guys familiar with those terms?
It seems self-evident.
Yeah. So, well, service recovery is not what the problem is, it's what you do about it. But it's a written policy that the entire organization knows what to do. If I can give you an example, fun example. And Mike, you would love this stuff because you can really get into some fun areas. But I'm working with a small hospital recently, 120 employees. They did not have a service recovery policy. And what we did is we developed not only a service recovery policy, but we developed service recovery toolkits, which are placed in strategic areas throughout the hospital. And in those toolkits are things that they can give a patient and at various levels, depending on how every employee is empowered to do it, give them depending on how critical they think the problem was. So I'm sorry you had to wait an hour for that doctor. You know what? I've got something I want to give you. And they give them a $5 gift certificate from a local Subway shop. Or there's all kinds of fun things in there. They've got stress balls and all kinds. So it became a huge fun project for the entire organization to determine what's in the toolbox. And then now, going back after 6 months of their using it, their employees love it. They say the reaction we get from a stupid little, stress ball, they said, is just incredible. And people talk about it when they remember these are very small towns. So it's not, this is their community. They say, when we meet people, they say, thanks, I still have that stress ball, So that's the kind of thing with service recovery. I know I went around a long way there, Sanjay, but I guarantee you they have some kind of service recovery policy at Rogers. But I'm wondering if the organizations who are listening right now on this blog, if they've thought about that, if they thought about that just for their team. Do they have some kind of policy if things go wrong?
Yeah, and I think with your example in the hospitals too, Jeff, it's as much as anything, it's sometimes about simply making the gesture, right? That's really important too, because then you're acknowledging that things did not go as well as we would have liked, and we're acknowledging it. And so sometimes in some cases, it doesn't have to be a huge thing necessarily, but just the acknowledgement.
And it's a perception too, because if you crunch the numbers, you go, let's pretend Rogers has 10 million subscribers. Giving $10 a subscriber, that's $100 million. That's a huge amount of money, and I get that. But for that $100 million investment, most people are rolling their eyes going, $10, big freaking deal, right? So by doing, maybe instead they go, hey, we're going to start a fund. We're going to throw $5 million into the fund, the 911 fund. And then the perception around it is completely different. And by the way, the example you're giving about this $5 gift certificate reminds me of a guest we had episode or two back when we had Peter Finnis on, and he was talking about one of the core values is he talked about empowerment at the point of contact. That was one of the core values, and I think that's so powerful, right? How often do people go, well, I'd like to do this, but I have to ask my manager, and it really weakens the interface and the connection. So to be able to say, even if it's $5, even if it's a pack of gum, it doesn't matter. It's the gesture that's much more important than the face value of the monetary gain.
You bring up a great point, Sanjay. And by the way, the one-year initiative is called the CX Edge, as well as the book. When implementing the CX Edge with an organization, One of the things that our clients are almost shocked at, because it's never been approached this way, and I'm giving myself credit, thank you very much, but is that we focus on frontline, not on upper management. See, because one, we want to get them engaged. The more engaged people are internally, the better the experience externally. And two, frontline, typically has been ignored when it comes to customer experience. They implement the policies that are given to them by higher up. But what we do is we do it backwards. And by doing that, and like you use the word empower, okay, it's a kind of an overused word, but that's exactly what it is, empowering those people to make a decision right on the spot. Yeah, and what I hate is, let me talk to my supervisor. Let me see if there's something I can do about that, right? Up to a point. I mean, there are financial limits that they can do, but it is that gesture. And I had not heard that term that you just use at point of interaction.
At point of contact. Yeah.
Okay, point of contact. And a point of contact is what? It's a touch point.
Yeah.
And so we all have hundreds of touch points in any given day. And I think that we need, again, I'm getting into the weeds. I don't want to do that, but I make my clients, I have my clients do if you've ever heard of a customer experience journey map, and that's just taking every touch point that they have, either in a department or the entire organization, and then mapping it out. How do people feel at that touch point? What can your people do if something goes wrong at that touch point? So it's by taking that map, we can see every one of our touch points, and these major touch points, and we can start to kind of hone it down so that at every touch point, eventually, it takes time, but at every touch point, we're ready for whatever happens. And so are frontline workers.
And a touch point map, because I talk about this too, it I think helps people differentiate between where are those points that involve customer service in the pure definition of that term versus customer experience. And I think it helps people to see that, oh, wow, yeah, customer experience is way bigger, way broader than customer service. Customer service is a subset of customer experience. And we have to think about everything, the cleanliness of our parking lot, how clear are our directional signs, how easy is it to navigate our website? Everything feeds into customer experience.
It's also a very proactive approach. If this happens, what can we do? Right? Because when we're reactive, we tend to freeze. At least with the proactive, we've had the discussion, we've had the thought. Even if we react, we're going to react differently with having that information and that experience with us. The other interesting thing is, you said, you approach it backwards, and you start from the point of contact or from the touch point. I would say that that's actually the forward way, and everyone else who's doing it traditionally is the backwards way.
Yeah. I don't know which one of you is going to take my job today and look through the comments, but I'm just going to look at one that got my attention, and that's from Shelby. And I want to read this, because not many people they probably heard of the Lean Six Sigma, but probably haven't experienced it in their organizations. And I am totally upfront to say that I've stolen some of my ideas from that entire process. So Shelley, you're right on. Six Sigma, they talk about customer experience a lot, and how to distinguish the two, and how do you improve each one separately. So I just want to give credit where credit's due there too. One of the things that I took from that entire process, the Lean process, is that I have every one of my organizations established, and I really recommend this for anybody, establish what I call a CX council. So a customer experience, and CX now short for customer experience. And by the way, do you know why it's CX and not CE?
Because E probably stands for something else.
No, because it came on the heels of naming people customer experience officers, and CEO was already taken, right? So they're now CXOs. But setting up a customer experience council, and this is made up of, at least in my organizations and the organizations that we work with, it's made up of 40% frontline, 60% management. And that ratio not only brings in great ideas, but it also can get things done, right? So, somebody in the frontline comes up with an idea. If you're too frontline heavy, it doesn't get implemented. So that council, I think, is key. And I won't go into a lot of details now, but it does. If you're in an organization of 50 people or more, there should be a CX council that's constantly looking at those maps that you said, Michael, looking at touch points, looking at opportunities to improve. And it should be cross-functional. For some reason, we think if we have a customer service department, they're also the customer experience experts. No, they're only a part of customer experience.
Mhm.
It
It's
reminds me of
French
like
fry
Tobe.
days, so I keep thinking about examples we can use with French fries. Like customer service is, would you like fries with that? As a nice
Oh, remember that?
gesture
And
offer.
customer experiences, would you like fries with that? No, hold on.
No. Customer experiences, the person is very friendly. They say, would you like fries with that?
And they
Sure. You
say-
order the fries. An hour later, you go home. You get food poisoning because the fries were tainted with something.
that's-
You had a
that's an
bad customer experience.
Yeah. So it's funny, in one of the training classes I had with recently last week in Louisiana with a client, one of the questions I ask, expecting I know the answer, is do you always get the experience? Do you always get the same experience with an organization that you know? Always. And then one guy goes, yeah, McDonald's. It's always bad. So, I hadn't thought of that, but I think
They were built on consistency, right? That was their whole key to success. But that's an important point, right? Consistency is huge. In fact,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we've talked about this. I talk about this idea of customer service roulette, where we all know that if you keep phoning us, well, you know, Rogers, a big telecom provider, that's a classic example. You could phone 4 different people with the same issue until you get the right person. After 3 people saying, no, we can't do that. No, it's against our policy. No, we can't do that. Then you hit number 4. Oh, of course we can do that. I'd be happy to help you.
And you
I
flip
do that
the
with
switch,
the
and 10 seconds later, it's done, right?
Yeah.
And
And I
you
do it
know,
with the airlines all the time.
Yeah.
oh, absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely. Over the years, I've trained other speakers as professional speakers, and one of the things that I try to explain is this concept that the difference between a rookie and a veteran speaker is your range of a good day to a bad day shrinks. So when you first start, you hit a home run, you feel like you're on top of the world, and the next day you get booed off the stage. And so your ups and downs. But as you get more skilled, your band of consistency tightens up. And in theory, it should elevate as well. So it's starts like this and it moves up and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's what we're trying to do with the customer experience. Is we're trying to tighten the difference between a good experience and a bad experience is so narrow, but it's at a high level. And that's exactly what we're trying to strive for.
Absolutely. You know, Greg brings up a good point, and I want to throw in my 2 cents worth only because I may disagree. And that is, you know, he says, question number 1, is there anything else on your mind that I can help you with? I think the question has to be, what else can I help you with? And I know that there's such a tiny little difference there, but I have found such a huge difference in responses from people. When I'm coaching CEOs of my organizations, what else can I help with? And when I say anything else, they go, no, I think that's fine, right? It's almost like they're done, but what else is assuming that there is something else. So. Greg and I are going to
have words.
That's why I'm allowed to disagree, because they can't talk back. Right?
There you go.
Well, and on that note, there was a study done years ago, Journal of Internal Medicine, perhaps, don't quote me on that, but they found that when doctors, speaking of hospitals, when they changed their language, when they were talking to patients, and when they changed their language to say, is there anything else I should know? As opposed to, oh, I want to make sure I get this right. Is it anything or something?
Yeah, I disagree. I think they should say what else.
Is there something else? No, when they changed the phrase from, is there anything else I should know about, to, is there something else I need to know? The results went from like 55% to 93% of patients speaking up in the conversation. One little word change.
Yes. And I heard the same thing around the flip side is there something I can do to help? Versus, is there anything I can do to help? So, is there?
By the way, just on top of that, my hospitals now have the doctors sit in every in-room call as they do their rounding. They sit beside the patient, which has made a huge difference. And pre-COVID, they touched their arm, which made a huge difference. The doctor, so that's what they call bedside manner, and that's the only way people could describe the feeling afterwards. The experience was that their bedside manner is really nice, right? That they couldn't say why. It was interesting. By the way, can I just throw in, because we're coming close to the end here, that Greg, you do know we have guest hosts at any given time. I don't know you, but one of these guys probably does, and we would love.
I know Greg. I know Greg very well.
love for you to let us know if
Is that
that's
the same Greg you said we could never have him host? Is that the
Yeah,
same one?
that's
great.
Okay.
So Greg, I'm only kidding. We don't want you as a host. So if I can kind of, we're coming to the end, and I feel very selfish in taking up all this time. But are there
as you should.
any other questions you guys have for me that you've never asked or have asked, or think people need to be informed about? Oh, there has never been silence on this.
No, everyone's bashing Greg in the chat right now, so it's
We are in big trouble. So let me just, I'll summarize, and then we can talk some more. But the bottom line is that I think that 80, I did my homework, by the way, with this morning. So I read a survey that was done by Bain and Company in Canada. And it said something to the effect of, and I should have written the numbers down, but 86% of Canadian organizations list customer experience as one of their top 5 priorities in 2022. And so if that doesn't say something about the fact that for those of you who have kind of blown it off and say it doesn't affect me, or that's, I work on a team and we just do our little thing. I got to tell you that customer experience, call it whatever you want, call it customer service. Every one of you have internal and external customers, and there are initiatives within your team, within your organization, that you could have control of. And even if it's something small that you initiate in your team, I really want you to think, just for the next 2 weeks until we get together again, what's one thing we could do on our team to improve one touch point that we have? And imagine if every department in your company did the same thing. That's when we improve the customer experience.
And these concepts we talk about, whether it's customer experience or whether we're talking about organizational culture, what have you, when things are swimming along and everything's hunky-dory, these things don't seem to matter. And it's because they don't really. The analogy I often like to use is when a sports team is winning, if the locker room is dysfunctional, no one cares. If there's fighting and there's lack of communication, no one cares, because you're winning, you're getting the results. But the reality is you have the ebb and flow of business. You have your peaks and valleys, things go up and down. And it's when things are not going your way that these things are paramount. And why you want to be investing in them proactively, a little bit here and a little bit there, so that when the shit hits the fan, you actually have a discourse, that you have a path and you have a strong foundation for which to build on. So the old cliche, the best time to plant a bamboo tree is 20 years ago, the second best time is now. So rather than wait for the shoe to drop, insert cliche here, what are we doing now to invest within the organization, within the customer experience, within the organizational culture, so that when things aren't swimming right as well as they could be, we're going to be in a better situation to deal with them.
And making sure that you ask everybody, especially your frontline people, because they're on the front line, they see a lot of stuff, but so does everybody from their vantage point. And when you ask people these questions, it plants the seed of curiosity. Hopefully it gets them curious about the business. It gets them more involved and engaged, and gives them a sense of ownership. And hey, okay, yeah, I'm going to look for some ideas here. I've got some ideas here, and it makes them feel honored and respected and recognized.
Absolutely. So let me make an offer, if I may, self-promoting, but as you guys know, I'm still looking for 2 beta organizations to work with. What does that mean? It means you must have 100 employees or more, be customer service focused now and willing to go to the next level. And the best part is that it's basically free. I'll leave it at that. I'll tease you. If you have one of those organizations, please reach out to me. It's just jeff@jefftobe.com. And let's talk about how we can take you to the next level. So guys, I want to thank you for having me today. It's been really odd being on this side of the questioning, and not one real insult from Sanjay. So I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my computer, I lost my hard drive on Friday, and so all my one-liners have been deleted. So I have to build up a new database.
I didn't know you had a list.
You've done so well at being a guest that maybe we should make you a regular.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
You could just be a guest. Forget this panelist stuff.
Yeah, really. I know that, speaking that, good segue. I know, Mike, that we have an amazing guest next time around, 2 weeks from today.
We do. That is July 27th, 2 weeks. Guess what? It's on a Wednesday. We have a special guest, Dr. Donnie Horner, Senior VP from Human Capital Services at Higher Echelon, who will talk about his company's research on culture. You don't want to miss this. Some incredibly interesting insights.
And I have to say, I believe this is our 50th episode of Every Other Wednesday.
Wow.
Congratulations, guys.
It is.
That's every other week. Think about that. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
That's crazy. We're getting up to my IQ territory.
I know.
By the way,
I just want to finish by saying we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody who joins us every other week. So thank you to all of you. We love doing this as long as you love us. So and what we do.
That sounds like we need a PBS hotline right now for people to phone in for their donations.
Please donate.
Enjoy this
Jeff needs a haircut. Jeff needs a haircut. There you go. There's your insult. Dr. Horner, if you recall, that what happened was when we were putting together these episodes, often one of us will come across an interesting article, and we kind of pitch it to the other guys and go, "Hey, what about this for a theme?" And so that happened not too long ago, maybe I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes ago, and that became the basis of the article. And Richard said, "Wait a minute, the authors, Dr. Horner, I know him." And so he agreed to come onto the show. So we're really excited to have him. So obviously the article was interesting enough that we made a show of it, and we're going right to the source to actually learn something, because you don't have to learn from the likes of Mike's and Jeff's and stuff. Me, I get it.
I know they do. We do.
Thank
Mike,
you
we'll
all.
wrap things up.
Yes, thank you all. Any last words of wisdom? Sanjay, Jeff, Sanjay.
None. Have a great 2 weeks, everybody.
Yeah.
I will not be here in 2 weeks. Surprise.
What?
I will be rafting in the Yukon.
Oh,
So
nice.
think of me there.
Nice.
Very nice.
I will not be rafting the Yukon. I might be stuck with these guys. And
Sadly, neither will I.
I'm bragging because we are celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. Very
Bye,
cool.
guys. Thank you for
Bye.
having me.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks so
everyone.
much, everyone,
See you in
for
2 weeks.
joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Cheers.